Now, welcome to Knowledge Quest Lighthouse for this yet another episode of English and other material. Now, today I want to give you 10 basic English statements that you should avoid making while in the corporate world. These are statements that you can make with your family or maybe your friends, but these statements should be avoided while in the corporate world. This is your place of work, your place of business. You should not be using these statements. Instead, I'll give you more refurbished, more well set out statements that you can use in place of them. Now, statement number one that you should avoid using in the corporate world is I don't know. Do not use that statement, I don't know. Instead of saying I don't know, you could say that's a great question. Let me look into it and get back to you shortly. Don't say I don't know. Instead, you could say I'll look into that and provide you details shortly. That one is better. Do not say I do not know in the corporate world. Statement number two is that's not my job. Don't say that's not my job. Instead, you could say that's not within my scope, but let me look into it and provide you details afterwards. Or instead, you could say, let me connect you with someone who does that more effectively. Do not be used to saying that statement, that's not my job. No, instead you can say, let me connect you with someone who can handle that more effectively. That's statement number two. Statement number three you should avoid using in the corporate world is, I think this might work. No, do not say, I think this might work. Instead, you could say, based on my understanding, this approach could work well. Let's discuss it further. Or instead, you could say, I'm confident this is a good starting point, but I'm open to input. You could say that instead of saying, I think this might work. Statement number four that you should avoid making is, you are wrong. Don't say you are wrong. Instead, you could say, I see where you're coming from, but here is another perspective to consider. I see where you're coming from, but here is another perspective to consider. Or you could instead say, let's look at the data to clarify things further. Don't just say you are wrong. Instead, use the statement that I have just given you. Another statement that you should avoid using in the corporate world is, that's impossible. Do not say that's impossible. Instead, you could say, this presents some challenges, but let's explore on potential solutions. This presents some challenges, but let's explore on potential solutions. Or else you could say, it might be difficult, but here is another alternative to consider. That is corporate. Do not say that's impossible. Statement number six is, I don't have time for this. In the corporate world, do not say, I don't have time for this. Do not address someone, tell them, I don't have time for this. Instead, you could say, I'm currently prioritizing, but I can look at it after some time. Or you could say, could we revisit this later when I can give it my full attention? Could we revisit this later when I can give it my full attention? Do not say, I don't have time for this. That is not corporate. Corporate say, could we revisit this later when I have time to give it my full attention? Statement number seven is, you didn't tell me that. Don't tell someone in the corporate world, you didn't tell me that. That's not corporate. Instead, you could say, thank you for pointing this out. I must have missed out, but could you please clarify? That is corporate. Or else you could say, I don't recall that detail. Can you help me understand it better? That is corporate. Instead of telling someone, you didn't tell me that. Now, statement number 8, this isn't going to work. Most of us are used to saying this statement, especially when we are presented with a few challenges here and there. We ought to say, this isn't going to work. That's not corporate. Now, the corporate way of saying that is, there might be obstacles, but we can adjust to make it more feasible. There might be challenges, but we can adjust it to make it more feasible. Do not say this isn't going to work. Instead, you could say, I foresee some challenges, but let's discuss and address them. That is corporate. Now, statement number 9 is, most of us are used to saying sorry, but then you proceed with other statements. Sorry, but do not say that in the corporate world. Instead of saying sorry, but, you could say, I apologize for the inconvenience, but here is what I suggest. I apologize for the inconvenience, but here is what I suggest. Don't just say sorry. No, you could as well say, I apologize for the inconvenience. Or you could say, I understand your concerns, but let's work together and see how we resolve this. That is corporate. Now, statement number 10, and the last statement that you should avoid making in the corporate world is, I'll try my best. No, the corporate world do not say, I'll try my best. Do not paint a picture of that statement, I'll try my best. Instead, you could say, I'm confident I can handle this by. That brings some level of courage, some level of confidence. When you say, I am confident I can handle this by this and this date. Or you could say, you can count on me to deliver this. Don't say, I'll try my best. Simply tell them, you can count on me to deliver this. Now, those are 10 statements that you should avoid making in the corporate world, so that you can look more corporate, more understanding, and look like someone who understands what exactly they are saying in terms of confidence and consistency in whatever they say. Thank you so much. That's been Knowledge Quest Lighthouse. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.